आखिरी बयान के लिए अपने बेटे मोहम्मद दानियाल कमर को मैं गुजारिश करता हूँ, हमने आज से ही न जी इनकी तरबियत करनी अपनी औलाद की, और इंशाअल्लाह ताला अज़ीज़ हुजूर के सदक़े ये आज से ही सरवर दो आलम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के अहले बैत की मोहब्बत के तराने गाएंगे, तो कल को इंशाअल्लाह ताला अज़ीज़ इनकी ज़िंदगियाँ भी उनके उसवा के मुताबिक होंगी। ज़रा इस्तक़बाल कीजिए नारे तकबीर, नारे रिसालत, नारे हैदरी।
नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली व नुसल्लिमु अला रसूलिहिल करीम, अम्मा बाद, फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। All my brothers, as you know that today is the day of 10th of Muharram al-Haram, also known as the day of Ashura, Yawm Ashura. This day in the Islamic history contains very much importance. In this day, several occasions related to past prophets or history, many occasions related to them happened. Many occasions, just like Mufti Sahab described earlier, the occasion of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, that his tawbah was accepted on this day. The occasion of Hazrat Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam, and many prophets' occasions happened in this month and especially on this day. So that is why, due to these specialities, this month and this day contains very much importance. But among all these occasions, only one occasion is that contributed mostly in the popularity of this month and especially of this day. And that occasion is known as the incident of Karbala. The incident of Karbala, what is it? It is actually the face-off of the right and the might. The actual face-off of power and the righteousness. In the battlegrounds of Karbala, the thought of Hussaini thought and the Yazidi thought were against one another. There was the two philosophies facing one another. One was the philosophy of Yazid, whose philosophy was what is might is the right. And against that philosophy was the philosophy of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, that might is not right, but what is right is the might. This was the ideology of Imam Hussain that took his whole family and himself to the battleground of Karbala. And he came there to face this ideology, the false ideology of Yazid. And then the question arises that why Imam Hussain came to the Karbala? Why was he came there when many pious men were practicing their deen? It was a thought made up that we should do our things, we should only serve our religion, we should do our practice, and instead of fighting and one another, we should practice our religion ourselves and let them do the politics, let them rule. It is their right. This was the thought that was made up that time. This was the partition that Yazid wanted to make. The partition that Yazid wanted to make, to apart the politics from the religion, to apart the rule and make it the rule himself, or to make the dictatorship, the Islamic rule, to distort the Islamic rule that is being kept pure from the era of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was kept pure in the eras of the Caliphate of Rashidun, in the Khulafai Rashidin's era. This was the distortion that Yazid wanted to make. But the Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu neglected all these. Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu raised his flag of honor and faced the Yazid's thoughts, faced that brutality, faced that cruelty that Yazid was spreading throughout the Muslim world. Yazidiyat was that name that was crushing all the righteous men. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam opposed him, and many wise men of that time kept silence in themselves. But Imam Hussain was not of the degree that, as you know, that there are three states of Iman. One is the state that in our hadith and our Allama described that one is the state strongest. The strongest state of Iman is that we stop the sin, or so we stop the munkar from our whole power, from our actions. The second degree, that is mid degree, that we should stop it by our tongue, and the least degree of our iman, that we kept in our heart and keep it, that it is a bad thing and consider it a bad thing, just like it, and do nothing by your tongue or your actions. But Imam Hussain alayhi salam has the strongest iman of that time. He was the strongest of that time, who faced the Yazid's armies, who faced that thought and didn't kept in. Obviously he was trained from the Prophet. He was trained by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the Shabi of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the similar of Prophet. Everyone was, maybe there may have been many pious men, but not everyone rode the Prophet's back. Maybe there may have been many pious men, but not everyone was from the bloodline of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is why Imam Hussain was the one person who opposed the Yazid's cruelty and brutality. This was the thing that took Imam Hussain in the battlegrounds of Karbala. And Imam Hussain opposed the thoughts of Yazid, the ideology of Yazid, because he opposed it, and he said that anything, I would sacrifice anything, it would take anything, I won't care, but I will not let anyone distort the deen that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given it. That Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam given to us, I will not let anyone distort it. And if we talk about the Yazid, many people say that it was a fight of two princes. But how could be it is a fight of two princes when one is the peak of Iman, is on the peak of Iman, and another is on the lowest. I mean, don't consider it in the Iman. A person whose Yazid has three dimensions. It has three dimensions of corruption. It corrupted in three dimensions. The first dimension, it done the political corruption. It founded three corruptions: the political corruption, the ethical corruption, and the corruption of the money. These three corruptions were made by the Yazid, and these three corruptions made him the owner of dictatorship, the founder of dictatorship in the Islamic politics. And the politics that Caliphate al-Rashidun in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that everyone has the right to speak. When even Umar bin Khattab, being the Khalifatul Muslimin, being the Caliphate of the Muslim world, anyone could have asked him, anyone could have questioned him. And this righteousness was taken by the Yazid. Yazid stopped all this. He took the accountability. He took the right to speak. He took every right from the Muslims that was being kept pure in the Caliphate of Rashidun, in the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's era. And this was the character of Imam Hussain that stopped Yazid, and even he sacrificed his family, everything he sacrificed. And the last message of this is that anyone who claims to be Hussaini will have to follow the character of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, will have to follow the character, that his aim, to follow his aim, the message Imam Hussain alayhi salam gave it to us, that whatever happens, you have to follow the right. Whatever you have to do, you have to stand against the Yazid of your time. However mighty he is, however powerful he is, you have to stand with the rightness and stand against the Yazid of your time. And this is the today's message. Jazakallah.